All right, let's work on this problem and see what's going on. Now, what can we do here? Good question. Well, the thing that I see that really is important, look at the difference in the position of the kings. And I see that the white king is potentially dangerous and vulnerable to a dark diagonal check. Notice the black king doesn't have this problem. They're both missing the F pawns, but there's no check to gain time against the black king. And I think this is the key. Now, what I'd love to do, this is what I call the fantasy variation. I'd love to play this move because I force a win. King to the corner and H1, queen F1 check, rook takes queen, rook takes rook, checkmate. But I can't play this move in 1. I can't play it in 2 with queen checks because rook takes queen. I can't play queen checks on C5 here because queen takes queen. However, the thing is, I see what I want to go. Where I want to go is F2. So can I make a threat to something that will allow me to also then attack F2? So this is what I'm going to do is I'm looking to make a fork of 2 things. One of those things is F2. The other one is like, is there something of value? And to me, the thing that jumps out at me is queen to D2, threatening to take his rook, threatening to play queen F2 check. Now here's the deal. Well, what if he just goes, okay, rook to F1? That way, if you play rook takes rook, king takes rook, and he's safe. He's not getting annihilated. Well, the problem with rook to F1, if I go queen to D2, rook to F1 double question mark. Why is it double question mark? Because I'll hit him with the intermediate move, the in-between move, or also the Zwischenzug, is queen to E3 check. His king, well, he can bring his rook up, queen takes free rook check, king in the corner, queen F1 is mate. So when I hit him with queen D2, rook to F1 double question mark, queen to E3 check wins because king to the corner, rook takes free rook is checkmate. I don't see that he has a point to defend here. He can't move his queen, okay, to defend both the rook and F2. That's his problem. He can defend one or the other, but not both. So eat this. Yeah, well, good luck with that. Now, granted, he's got a trap. He's got a trap here. The trap is 2 traps, actually. Rook takes queen, double question mark. Loses to rook takes rook, checkmate. I can't do that. Ha! If you play queen to F2 check and then try to bump and score with queen to F1, well, this rook is pinned to your king. So I can play queen F2 check, but queen F1 check doesn't work because he just goes rook takes free queen. And then you could take his queen, and he's inverted checkmate. He's even. And he's ahead of the pawn, so he's winning this. The answer is simple, I hope. What is the answer? Good question. I want to say the answer is queen to F2 check. However, that is very interesting. That is very interesting. Check there. Queen to F2 check, and then possibly, king to corner. And then, well, the other move, there's another move I could play. I don't think it's as good. King to G8, he would just go queen to E6 check and boot me to the corner, what have you. So that's not really getting anywhere. But I'm thinking queen F2 check, king H1, and then then H6 alleviates the mate threat. And so the problem he has here, if I go here, he doesn't have the ability to go queen to E2 because queen takes queen, rook takes queen, and then rook F1 is checkmate. This is clearly the move. And I just want to break the checkmate. This is a mistake. Find the blunder and don't play it. He'll just play queen E5 check. And then rook to G8 or rook to G1, and he's fine. H6 alleviates the threat of checkmate. And now he's got a problem. Yeah, well, that's the solution. Okay, so what you saw here is I identified a problem, solved it. Identified another problem and solved it. Identified another problem and solved it. This is my dad's rule. What's he trying to do to me? Taken to extremely high level, and bada boom, bada bing, solved. Let's rock. Now, another thing you saw, took my time. Don't get in a rush. All right. Now, this is a key formation, and what's really important about this formation is that there are many different ways to reply that are good, but they're good on different parts of on different positions or variations. And I'm talking about the queen takes the knight pawn. One of the responses that's really powerful in this is rook to b8. The other one that's powerful is knight to a5. The knight going to a5 is great because it's protected by the queen. And it also attacks the queen, the enemy queen. So sometimes this piece gets trapped. And other times there's going to be moves you can make that can be dangerous to the queen. Sometimes knight to b4 is one of these moves. But it looks like to me that knight a5 is inferior. I look at it. I know that the two main ones are knight a5 and rook to b8. Let's look at each of them. Knight to a5, I don't think is the right one here because there's something else I see already that I need to look at. And I need to explain it to you. So my gut reaction, my spidey senses tell me knight a5 is not the way to go. Rook to b8. Let's look at, if we go rook to b8, what are we threatening? Rook takes queen, obviously, right? What can he do? Well, notice his queen is severely restricted. If I go to b8, I guard the entire b file. So the only thing the queen can do is queen takes pawn, which loses to knight takes queen, or queen takes bishop, or queen takes knight. Those all lose. Queen c7 loses. Queen b6. Any b file move loses. The only thing he's got is queen to a6. And remember what I told you about that knight to b4? Rook to b8 in this case is the right move because queen a6 is basically forced. Then knight to b4 threatens the queen again. I might be going to c2 to hit this rook. So let's look at this. Rook b8, queen a6, knight b4. And as my father would say, what are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? He can't go to a5. My queen guards it. He can't play queen to a4. My bishop guards it. He can't go queen to a3. Actually, he can. If he goes queen to a3, I have a winning move. Not like the other moves, which literally lose. So this is it. And this is it. Now you can have the pawn. Oh, what do you want, a medal? Now let's be careful. Let's not be stupid. What do we have here? I thought he had to go to a3, but I forgot about this. But that's okay. We could play. I don't really like this rook move. Oh, rook move. He does have queen b7, but then okay, so here's the deal. This is the correct move because queen a3, I fork him. Knight c2. If he takes the pawn, I have another win. And that win is this. Rook a8. Only move he can go to, queen guards this, it's queen b7 and then bishop to c6. Again, quoting my dad, what are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? Take the rook. All right? This is the key. I see in my mind's eye, in my brain, queen b7, bishop c6, and then you have no more moves. Wherever you go, I am going to take your queen. So he gives up, takes a rook. Jackpot. So, identify the problem. Point out, in this case, there was two different candidate move solutions. And I figured out which one was the right one. And it's all about figuring it out. Okay, now this is another one. This is a great problem because There's two types of solutions to this problem. All right, and this is a windmill problem. And if you don't know what the windmill is, well, you're going to get to learn about the windmill. And the windmill is super fun when it happens because it's quite evil. So what happens here is the basic idea is rook takes pawn check, king to the corner, and then this rook moves with a check from the bishop. Now the bishop here is not under attack, so it's fine. I can do, for example, rook takes pawn check, king h8, rook takes f7 check. What are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? All right. Now the problem you have to look out for here is that rook takes pawn check, king to here. Whenever you move this rook to check this bishop, that's fine. But if you play, there's another move you could play of bishop takes here and threatening to move the bishop back and discover a check from the rook, but he would have a defensive move of bishop to g6. So right now we're going to focus on the dark squares, and since his other pieces, well, he could defend. For example, rook checks, king in the corner, rook takes f7. He could block this with the bishop, but with my rook sitting here on f7 with a discovered check in the corner, bishop f6, bishop takes free bishop check. Again, what are you going to do now, Magnus? You're going to lose, that's what. So the answer here is check. Now, there's another secret solution of windmills. Sometimes it's literally the fun part. Rook takes f7 check, king to g8, rook to g7, king to h8, rook takes free bishop check, king to g8, rook to g7 check, king to h8, rook takes free rook on b7. You're just cleaning his house, okay? But there's another secret solution that checkmates. We don't have that really here and that would be the secret solution for future more difficult windmill problems is rook to g8, double check. The only response is king takes, and then rook to g3, but it only works if bishop to g6 is not possible or bishop to g5 is not terrible. But this bishop to g6 move would stop this rook to g8. But I'm showing you this rook to g8 idea with a double check because it's devastating. And then even sometimes there's a rook takes h7 check when you're trying to clear a space for a queen down here. Okay? So I think really this is the right move. Rook takes f7. I want to show this, hover it so you can see it. Well, he can't, if he interposes the bishop, we just take it with the bishop. Bishop takes free bishop check. And then just, run this. They're going to run this check, king g8, check him again, king to the corner, rook checks here. Again, he can't interpose the rook. We just take it with the bishop. All right? So you're getting smoked right here. Now, hammer time. He resigns, okay? This is the fun of the windmill. But like I said, there's a couple of other moves you need to be aware of for more difficult windmill problems where the average, the regular rook takes f7, or if in black is doing it, rook takes f2. It's the same thing with just colors flip-flopped, mirror image. So super awesome and fun windmill problems. Let's go do another one. Now, one of the things you should be paying attention to, and I can't stress this enough, I'm on a streak running these problems. Why am I running these problems? And I say that running means solving. It's because I'm methodical, I'm paying attention to details, I'm doing calculations in my brain. I'm not playing eyeball chess, boom, 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 just moving pieces, okay? Take your time. What's impressive to this whole sequence that you've seen is accuracy. Accuracy is number one. Of course, it's awesome when you're like, Fabio or Hikaru or Magnus or Hans Niemann. just blasting the fast moves, okay? It's super awesome. But what you have to understand, it's only awesome because they're accurate. If you move fast, it reminds me of a classic Bart Simpson segment. Well, maybe, Bart's a genius. Maybe I am a genius. And it shows Bart playing he's playing a simultaneous where he's playing multiple chess opponents at the park. Wow, Bart's playing all those games. Checkmate, checkmate, checkmate. Everybody's checkmating him because he's terrible. But they film it. It's the film setup is like, wow, he's awesome. He's playing all these games and he's losing every one of them. So visually it can be very enticing to see fast moves. It only really is enticing if they're accurate moves. Okay. So what I see here is something, and I made up terms for a lot of these things that no one ever uses, because a lot of times, people are referring to the classical 14 tactics, like double attack. We call it a fork, okay? But double attack, the skewer, the pin, etc. And I invent names for scenarios that can be different tactics, okay? Could be a removal of defender tactic, could be a fork, could be a skewer, could be a pin. But all of these things can share a common theme, and the common theme here that I'm about to look at and mention is unblockable diagonal. Now, almost always that's referring to the king, but it's not doesn't have to be. But here, what stands out is the white square diagonal is ultra weak. It cannot be blocked. When I say blocked, I mean permanently blocked without losing. Throwing your queen in there, having it taken, throwing your rook in there, having it taken doesn't count because it's gone. Okay, so to me, I see queen b5 check. Why? Unblockable diagonal draws my eye like this. So let's just look at this. Queen b5 check. Well, look at his king. If he blocks it, it's unblockable because we have two knights guarding d3, adding an attacker with this queen on b5, for example. Check. Well, if he plays rook up, we just go knight on here, takes this knight takes free rook, really, is what we're doing. What are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? Because if you don't do something, I'm going to move this knight and discover check your king and make it worse. Okay? So queen b5 or queen to a6. I think queen b5 is better, slightly. A little more flexible. But we'll see. Queen b5 check. Rook up, loses to knight e, takes, and it's game over. He goes back to, say, e1, queen b5 check, king e1, we'd hammer him with knight f3 check. Notice that we're covering his flight squares here with the knight on f3, which cannot be taken. All right? So this queen check on either b5 or a6, whichever one is the right one. And the uncool part is you got to figure out which one is technically minusculely better. Beats the holy heck out of me. I think queen b5 is slightly better. Maybe a6 is better because your queen is defended. It's esoteric garbage like this that they'll nickel and dime you on. So we go queen a6. Maybe there's a line where it goes to a desperado and you end up winning because your queen is defended. I don't know. But queen b5 looks right. Queen b5 check. King d2, same story. Oh, actually, it's not the same story. And yes, b5 is the correct move. Why? Because queen b5 check. Watch this. Let's go to the wrong square. Queen to a6. King to d2. Fine. The problem is you can't play knight to b3 check because your queen's on a6. He just plays queen takes free knight, idiot. So this is the deal. King to e1 loses to knight f3 checkmate. So queen b5 check is the right move. That was my spidey senses told me. and they were correct. King e1 loses to knight checks on f3. It's a mate. So queen b5 check, king d2, with the idea of running to c1. If the queen's on b5, I get to hit him with knight d3. I mean knight to b3, as in bravo. Knight to bravo 3, checkmate. Well, that's not checkmate. He could still go king e1, and then the knight checkmates him. So this, I think, is the right move, because this is the winner. And he's going to give me his queen for a knight or get checkmated. I don't care. So, yes, one was better, and b5 is the better move. This is an example of what makes a chess master a chess master. Both moves are strong. Queen a6 is very strong, but there's a flaw that you need to be on b5 so that we can play knight to bravo 3 check. Again, my accuracy in this sequence is spot on, okay? And that's what separates the men from the boys. Okay. What do we have here? We're losing, all right? That's ugly too. It is super ugly. Oh, look at this beauty. Okay, what are our assets? That's one of the things that I mentioned many times. What assets do we have? Well, we have an attack with queen and rook versus king that's castled. He's got plenty of defenders. He's got a bishop and a queen, etc., etc. And, well, can I check him? That's the first thing you kind of look at when you're attacking a king. Queen a4 check. Yeah, queen takes free queen. Thanks for playing. You can resign now. Okay. I'd love to play rook takes pawn check, but he'll take my rook. Oh, wait a minute. He can't take my rook because I'll take his queen with check. So rook takes pawn check. And that's checkmate. Well, if he doesn't take it, it's checkmate. He has to move. He can go queen to a4, rook takes, queen is checkmate, or he can play bishop takes rook, and then queen takes queen check, and he's getting smoked. So, hasta la vista, baby. Fatality. Oh, really? This is your genius. Okay, we have to hit this guy in such a way. I feel like this rook is awfully loose. So let's see what kind of geometric checks we can do, like queen to d3 check. Doesn't do anything. Queen to c5 check. What's he doing? Good question. He could play bishop over here. Ooh, and then, really can't do much there. I mean, the whole point of queen d3 check and queen takes, h3. That's not it. You gotta act, quickly and decisively to stop this pawn rook bishop combo to queen. So realistically, queen d3 check looks pretty lame. All right. Queen c5 check might be good. Actually, queen to b5. The queen to b5, now the thing is there's three different things. If I win any one of these three, it's over. So queen to b5 forks bishop and rook. It also forks pawn. Triple fork. Problem is he can't guard all three of these. So queen to b5 is not a check, but it's a triple fork. If he moves his rook to, say, d8, queen takes free bishop check, and the rook goes. That doesn't work. If he goes rook to a7, I can't take the bishop because he'd take my queen, but I can take his pawn. It's over at that point. He's literally done if I can get this d5 pawn. I'm thinking this is really the move. If he moves, he has to play rook to a7 guarding the bishop, or he has to play, you can't move the bishop and guard the rook. This is a killer move. He's just throwing in, he's going to resign, he's spite checking me. You jerk, I'll check you. Yeah, good luck with that, fool. No, I'll play bishop to c3 check. Well, I'm still going to take your d pawn. Okay. Longest streak, 9 in a row. All right, that's fantastic. Great. That was super awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, the most important lesson here, beyond the tactical applications, is accuracy, accuracy, accuracy. Is when you run a 9 streak that it just showed me I'm on a 9 streak, and when I come back the next day, I'll have a chance to make it 10 or more. Accuracy in long streaks is in itself super impressive. You can't all be flashy like Hikaru and Magnus, etc., all those grandmasters, okay? But you can do your business and do your business and do your business. And when you start racking up wins, people are like, dang, dude, you're good. One of the guys that reminds me of this is the British Grandmaster Richard Rapport. That guy is just money. He's not flashy in the same way that you see, Hikaru was a flashy player and super awesome. But Richard is fantastic, and he's just like, it's like you're beating your head against a boulder. It's like, man, and these guys, he beats guys because he's just taking care of business every move, and it's ridiculous. That's what becomes impressive. Okay, yeah, everybody goes, ooh, Magnus, ooh, Hikaru, and rightfully so. But I'm telling you, you watch Richard, that guy is like, oh man, this guy's a freak. So great stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing you guys in another video.